Hello my friends. My name is Bot Mathematician and this is Holomancer.
Also, Chief Investigative Reporter Dora joined us this evening.
Gadgets and Gazette always gets the scoop. Guys, readers of our newspaper are mostly unhappy with the new metagame and this situation provokes many questions. What's wrong with the new packs? Is the new set influential enough? What is better to buy instead of Perils and Paradise packs? Is it worth buying golden mini sets or golden packs to get cheaper dust for crafting?
Dora, we have done a lot of calculations and found answers to these and other questions. In addition, our viewers will learn the correct sequence for purchasing packs for this expansion phase, and all the secrets, disadvantages and advantages of each pack separately.
But before we get started, we want to thank our viewers for their engagement in our analytical video about the first negative consequences of the new strategy of Hearthstone management and our unannounced concept, which will potentially solve Blizzard's financial problems and at the same time make the game much more friendly for all players.
Power supply has been restored in Ukraine and the release of our idea may take place earlier than we expected.
This will be the most important video in the history of our channel and perhaps with joint efforts we will be able to change the destructive strategy of the management. Therefore, we kindly ask you to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so that you do not miss the video. We would also like to welcome our new patron Daniel Nascimento. Dear friend, thanks for joining. The support of our viewers helps us continue to create unique content.
Guys, let's get back to the main topic. As viewers know, we had a debate about the prospects of a new expansion. I demand that you finally acknowledge my victory and declare that the new set is a failure.
Dora, we are indeed forced to admit that some of your judgments turned out to be true, but we are not ready to admit our defeat.
The release of Perils in Paradise was not the most spectacular, but the set still has the potential to become the basis for the formation of a competitive environment for the next few phases of expansions. The impact of nerfs and buffs will put an end to our debate.
Guys, you can't put off your humiliation forever. Let me tell our viewers about the method that reveals the secrets of all packs. In the first stage, the guys analyze almost 800 of the most popular decks, data on which I managed to collect from all ranks over the past 7 days. This data allowed them to determine the number of useful cards in each set and their popularity. Knowing the drop rates, they can determine how many useful and completely useless cards you can find in your pack. The pack's benefit factor determines the hypothetical total amount of conditional dust that you can find in your next pack. It consists of dust you would receive for disenchanting useless cards or extra copies, plus the cost of crafting any useful cards you might find.
Here's an example. In cases where your pack contains only duplicates or useless cards, the minimum value of a pack will be slightly more than 100 dust on average. This value also corresponds to the cost of buying dust in ordinary packs. This is an extremely unfavorable gold exchange rate and dust.
Now imagine that all the cards in your pack are unique and useful. In this case, you have expanded your collection and you will not need to spend dust to create them, which means that your benefit from an open pack can increase up to 4 times.
Let's start our review with the worst option. The results once again destroy the myth that mini-sets are the best option to buy under any circumstances. The influence of cards from Fall of Ulduar is 3%. Although 12 cards out of 38 remain useful, only one legendary card is a must-have. Every 100 coins invested will bring you 249 conditional dust. This is a very low benefit rate. Also keep in mind that in 8 months this set will be removed from standard. As just an opportunity to expand your collection, this is a very bad option to buy, but if you really need Yogg Saron in one of your builds, then this becomes a worthwhile purchase.
Next in line is Audiopocalypse. This mini set has even lower impact, but it contains more useful rares, which slightly increases the benefit of buying it. Of the 4 legendary cards, only one exceeded the popularity threshold of 1%. The entire Festival of Legends set will also leave standard relatively soon.
We really like to monitor the usefulness of free cards. If this set was sold in packs it wouldn't be so bad. Of the almost 300 cards, 41% are used to build decks of varying levels of effectiveness. Of the 41 legendary cards, 15 are useful, but only 7 of them have popularity above 1%. The best of them are Leroy and Zola. The overall popularity of the set is 15%. This is a very good indicator for free cards.
Despite the fact that standard packs contain all the collectible cards, with an overall popularity of 83%, this offer is traditionally one of the worst. Here are the top 6 most popular legendaries that you want to find in these packs. but the probability of this is incredibly small. These packs are a good example of the cost of a full useful collection of cards. For example, out of 139 epic cards, 37 are useful, and out of 151 legendaries, 66 cards are conditionally useful, but only 49 of them are not niche. So, in order to have a good enough collection and be able to play the best builds for all classes, you need to collect 40 of the most popular legendaries. And here are the benefit factor indicators. Your benefit from purchasing the first pack for 100 gold will be 413 dust. After receiving the first legendary card, which on average can be found in the 5th pack, your benefit will be reduced and will be equivalent to 224 dust. Each pack will contain approximately this amount of useful resources until you collect all the common cards up to the 194th pack. The duplicate protection system helps us determine at what point the next reduction will occur. So, for example, after the 195th pack, you will start receiving duplicates of common cards, which will again reduce the benefit of purchasing packs to 186 dust. Having bought almost 500 packs, you collect all rare cards, and after that your profit will be about 156 conditional dust until you collect all epic cards. After the 1275th pack, you will only have to find legendary cards and your profit will be only 139 dust. Such a low rate means that you are trading your gold for almost a minimal amount of dust.
In our very long tradition, Festival of Legends packs are some of the worst options to buy. The set has never had much of an impact, and its fate in the meta is entirely consistent with the curse of first sets of the year, which are usually only useful for a very short amount of time. Almost a third of the cards are still useful. Legendary spells have stood the test of time. Rogue and Demon Hunter cards unexpectedly return to the top after the release of Perils in Paradise. Otherwise, this set doesn't deserve much of your resources.
Unfortunately, the Titan era is coming to an end. The influence of this set has unexpectedly decreased after the rotation. After the release of Perils of Paradise, an unusual effect was formed. There are slightly more useful cards from the Titan set in the metagame, but many of them have significantly decreased in popularity and have become more optional or niche. This has led to a significant decrease in the set's influence on Standard. The main reason is the high diversity of the current metagame. Players are using more cards to experiment and try to adapt old builds. Over the last week there has been a slight increase in the influence of the set, and perhaps it will regain a few percent of its popularity. But nerfs and buffs will most likely not restore its former shine. Overall, this set was unlucky with competitors. Badlands turned out to be too good. In addition, Whibsbang does not lose popularity quickly. Also, the presence of useless cards from the mini-set spoils the overall performance of the packs as a whole.
Next up is the Whizbang mini-set. Despite being released just a few months ago, this mini-set hasn't managed to become the best on our list. It has the advantage of having 2 useful legendaries, but only Dorian has a popularity above 1%. Product 9 is effective in the secret archetype, but due to the abnormally low popularity of the hunter, it is hardly noticeable in the competitive environment. Despite this, in my opinion this set is not good enough to buy with gold unless you need those 2 cards. Next in line are the Whizbang packs, which also demonstrates a very unusual effect. After the release of Perils in Paradise, the influence of the entire set as a whole has increased significantly. The new set in many cases seems to complement the strategies of the previous expansion. The popularity of the cards is incredible. Almost every 4th card in the deck belongs to this set. So why is it not at the top of the list? Firstly, if you do not buy a mini set before you start opening packs, your benefit factor will be slightly worsened. These packs also suffer from weaker cards from mini expansion. Secondly, pay attention to the data on legendary cards. Only 8 cards are used in fairly popular decks. This is a very, very low result. A huge advantage of the set is its relevance over the next year, but the low popularity of legendary cards just 4 months after the release should alert you.
Despite the fact that Showdown in the Badlands has a significantly lower impact than the Whizbang set, this expansion is more attractive for collecting, even though it will leave Standard in 8 months. The main advantage is that this set contains a large number of still useful legendary cards, which means you have a chance to get more benefit from purchasing the pack.
Delve into Deepholm is rightfully the best mini-set to date. I have no doubt that this mini-expansion is the best in history. 23 cards out of 38 are still useful and their overall popularity is 5%. In addition, these cards brought a lot of diversity to the competitive scene at the time. If you are willing to buy this mini set for money, it will be a very good decision, but if you only have gold and do not plan to use the Highlander archetypes of Shaman, Paladin and Warrior, we recommend investing your resources in other offers. A few words about the last free set for today. The cards that were gifted to players for the 10th anniversary of Hearthstone still look attractive. If we assume that this option could be sold to players for 700 gold, then every 100 gold coins would bring players a conditional 383 useful dust, even though only 5 cards remain useful. But pay attention to the interesting fact that this result remains valid as long as Hearthstone Brew remains useful. At the moment its popularity is less than 1% at all ranks. This means that the service life of this gift is gradually coming to an end.
Knowing the situation with all other sets, it's time to talk about the new Perils and Paradise packs. The results of these packs look quite promising, but pay attention to a few hidden nuances. 63% of the cards in the set are conditionally useful, but among 92 cards that are used to build decks, at least 30 have less than 0.5% popularity. In other words, they occupy an insignificant place in the competitive environment, and this is despite the fact that each class has received access to a record number of cards. Only a third of the epic cards have at least very low popularity. The remaining 17 are completely useless as of 2 weeks after the release of the expansion. Almost all the legendary cards are conditionally useful, but only 16 of them are noticeable enough. The statistics of the packs have significantly worsened over the past week. Despite the fact that this is the best option for buying at the moment, the dynamics are alarming. The entire Whizbang set has more impact than the new expansion.
There may be 2 reasons for this effect. Firstly, the new set was unable to fully reveal its potential due to the dominance of old strategies. In this case, a large patch of buffs and nerfs can significantly improve the situation and give new cards a new breath.
The second reason may be less optimistic. There is a possibility that most of the new cards may turn out to be too weak and balance changes will only improve the situation for a short time, after which the influence of the new set will continue to decline. In general, players experiment with a huge number of tools, but most of them are far outside the metagame. Most tourists have extremely limited use. Sometimes they are needed to gain access to only a few cards. In a situation where we were supposed to gain incredibly large influence from a new set, only 35 cards still have at least 2% popularity, and this is extremely unusual for a new expansion.
Let's finally talk about the correct strategy for purchasing packs. Based on all this data, I updated a table of the proper packs buying sequence. The first thing you should do is decide on the purchase of mini sets. In general, buying mini sets will reduce the total number of packs needed to get a full collection of commons and rares cards for each expansion. If you are willing to invest money, then the Badlands and Whizbang mini sets are good options. If you only have gold, then you might want to consider buying the Whizbang set if you need one of the specific legendary cards or for long-term investment purposes. We recommend buying the Festival of Legends mini set only if you need Magatha. Buy the Titans mini set only if you need Yogg Saron, otherwise ignore these sets. If you are a new or returning player, you should first check to see if you have received the first guaranteed legendary card from each expansion. Then you should gradually start collecting common cards. Buy packs until you have all the cards of that rarity. If you found a legendary card in pack 5 and bought the mini set of this expansion, you will need about 25 more packs, but check your collection carefully. It is best to start with the Perils and Paradise expansion and then move on to other expansions. Please note that if you ignore the Titans and Festival of Legends mini sets, you will have to open more packs to complete the collection. And another important tip: start collecting common cards from Festival of Legends only after you have collected all the rare cards from the 3 best expansions. And as always, I remind you that you do not have to repeat the entire sequence. Even if you complete this list only partially, you will receive a great collection advantage and maximum benefits. This time I added a few more options for comparison. Often players consider the possibility of buying golden packs to get dust for crafting. If you are lucky enough to find a legendary card in the 5th pack, then every 100 coins you spend will bring you 177 units of dust. This will allow you to get resources for crafting 2 legendary cards. In general, this is beneficial if you need dust for crafting specific cards, but remember that this result is not guaranteed. The more packs you need to open, the less benefit you can get. The benefit of this option depends on the size of your collection. Personally, I prefer to get more random cards of different rarities to expand my collection than to invest resources in 2 specific legendary cards, but each player's situation and needs may be different. Also, I was asked about the benefit of purchasing gold mini-sets in order to turn it into dust. In this case, every 100 coins will bring you 122 dust, but you will need to invest 10,000 gold coins to purchase this option. As you can see, buying regular packs and expanding the collection brings significantly more benefits, but if you need to get a large amount of dust for a minimum cost, this option will be slightly more profitable compared to buying regular packs. An important advantage of this option is the completely predictable value. You can use this option to get resources for crafting a specific deck.
The last option is worth mentioning separately. Given the mixed start of the Perils and Paradise expansion, you may get more benefits if you save gold for the next expansion or mini set. This is especially true for players who do not intend to purchase pre-orders or packs for real money in the near future. The consequences of balance changes are unpredictable, and with a limited number of free resources, we are not sure that the new cards will be useful in the long run. Based on the current trend, investing in Perils and Paradise may be risky.
Dear viewers, what advice can you give?
Should players continue to buy Perils and Paradise packs, or perhaps focus on buying another set, or abandon purchases altogether and save gold for other purposes? Share your thoughts in the comments and join the polls in the community tab.
Traditionally, we want to express our boundless gratitude to our sponsors.
Dear friends, your help is invaluable. We will be grateful for any support.
Okay, that's all for today. Thank you for spending this time with us. We really hope that we will have the opportunity to get in touch in the next video.
Take care of yourself.
And never give up.
Job's done.